so complicated about getting Nick Bosa into camp? Anybody worried about that? 888-957-9570 if you get a little tired of talking about quarterbacks here. But the big quarterback thing is the tiers. Tier 4 with Mike Sando. He has Brock Purdy as tier 4. And his offensive coach said, hey, we're getting Trey Lance because I think Trey Lance could do some damage in this offense. I really do. But then a part of me is starting to come around to the fact that maybe he just needs to change his scenery. Maybe it's kind of like James Wiseman. James Wiseman played 3 college basketball games. He comes into the NBA. At least he got to start right off the rip. He started that first season as a rookie. He gets hurt, meniscus, he had a wrist injury, he had COVID. Then he never really gets to play again. And playing time was a factor for him. Not playing was a factor. Trey Lance, man, has not played a lot of football since 2019. Since 2020, he hasn't played a lot of football.
I'm trying to find a comp to this that, like, I can even think of in the NFL. James Wiseman's a good one. It's a cross-sport one, but it's good.
Cross-sport one.
Like, I can't find another comp where a guy was drafted this high, a quarterback, and never really got a chance to even show what he could do because the team was so stacked around him that they had to move on to another quarterback so quickly, and he never had a chance. It's pretty wild. Like, I can't think 888-957-9570. Another situation like this for Trey Lance out there, because I can't think of one.
I can't think of not one.
What about a Josh Rosen when Kyler Murray came in for the Cardinals? He was a 3rd overall pick.
He showed a lot more than Trey did, though.
That's true.
That 1 year, and he was not good, like just flat out. But he had no talent around him. This is the same case, and it's ironic because Steve Wilkes, head coach of that team, got fired after a year as well. Now defensive coordinator with the San Francisco 49ers. That's going to be another interesting storyline this year. Steve Wilkes taking over there. But yeah, that's one.
Josh Rosen, because he got traded right away. He goes to Miami.
Bye-bye.
Brian Flores kind of puts him in the lineup, takes him out of the lineup, doesn't really thrive in Miami. Hell, he was in Niners camp for a little bit.
He's done.
He was in Cleveland for a little bit, just never really got the shot, though, as a top 10 pick.
No. And
That's a good one, though. Josh Rosen's a good one.
Yeah, but I think, again, he had way more opportunities that 1 year. Granted, he was healthy. That's a part of it. But he had more games played than Trey Lance. I can't think of a guy who's had only 4 games in the NFL.
All right, here's Trey Lance on getting limited reps at practice.
Yeah, I mean, live reps. I mean, we got 4 guys, so it just kind of is what it is, and just try to do as best I can to take advantage of every rep I get.
Asked if he was having limited reps makes poor play stick out a little longer. Here's what Trey had to say about that.
Not really. I mean, especially on the field. Maybe after practice, going back and watching it. But on the field, I'm very much turn the page. Yeah, got to go on to the next play because once it starts to snowball, and you don't let it linger or anything like that. Especially with, like you said, but just continue to take advantage 1 rep at a time.
Hey Trey, what about going from starter to possibly the number 3 quarterback on the roster?
Like I said, just taking 1 day at a time. I'm very present mind focused. Every rep, 1 rep at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 meeting at a time, whatever it is. I mean, I truly believe everything works out exactly how it's supposed to. So as long as I control what I can control, that's all I can worry about.
Hey, what about Purdy getting all the snaps with the ones? What does that mean?
No, I'm not thinking about it. I'm taking it 1 day at a time, 1 rep at a time, and like I said, just taking advantage of every rep and just continue to compete.
A lot of coach speak.
A lot of quarterback coach speak. He went to the Jimmy Garoppolo school very well. Straight A's.
Corey Rush, shout out to Corey Rush down there in the Raven Radar of the 49ers. They prepped him up well. But Trey has always kind of been like that. He's been, he's kind of always said, hey, man, I'm just trying to, I need to get better.
Very mature.
Yeah, yes. No doubt. He's very mature. So the heat that he gets, like he's a young, I just don't, how can you say he's really gotten a shot when you really break it down? When you really look at his game log. And I was in Chicago. And I remember the conversation leaving Chicago. It wasn't that Trey was playing poorly. It was like, damn. They needed that lead going into the 4th quarter with the monsoon. And look, we see this in the NFL all the time, right? A team dominates a half. They dominate the first 2.5 quarters. And yet you look at the scoreboard, you're like, damn, it's only 10-0.
Yeah.
All Chicago needs is 1 play to get back into the football game. That's all they need is 1 play. And they got the 1 play that Dante Pettis that flipped that football game. Nobody talks about Deebo Samuel fumbling on the first possession. Nobody talks about Mike McGlinchey whiffing on a sack. By the way, that guy who made the sack, it was his only sack that season.
Mike McGlinchey, have fun in Denver, right?
Hey, Mike McGlinchey running off the field, not helping up Trey Lance. Remember that visual?
I do remember that.
I mean, it was bad. Now, he made throws. He made a lot of throws. Second half against the Houston Texans, season on the line. 7-3 game. Trey ends up throwing for 250. So has he looked that bad? And in Seattle, first 2 drives of the game, you're in the red zone. So I don't like this rhetoric that he looks just terrible, unplayable. No, Ryan Leaf looked unplayable. All right, Jamarcus Russell looked unplayable.
Josh Rosen
looked unplayable. Kyle Bowler looked unplayable. Zach Wilson looked unplayable.
Yeah.
Has Trey Lance ever looked unplayable? To the point where you're like, yeah, this is bad.
No, I haven't seen enough from him to say that. That's the thing.
And if context matters, then why we never bring up the fact that Kittle missed 3 of those football games. You don't think Kittle makes a difference?
You don't think Christian freaking McCaffrey makes a difference for him, Bonta Hill?
Chicago, nobody remembers this. Elijah Mitchell's your starting running back.
There you go.
He was done by the second quarter.
Yeah.
So Jeff Wilson Jr., who was not in shape at that point, was basically playing running back, and your run game was dead at that point.
Yes.
So context matters.
It does.
Why can't we just use look, I'm cool with Brock Purdy starting at quarterback. He deserves it. The way he played last year, he took advantage of the situation. But damn it, I'm tired about all the falseness that's going around Trey Lance in his game and the way he looked. Context matters. Can we use it once? Can we use it in this matter? Why do we change? We moved the goalposts. We talk about Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford. In Terrence Crawford's camp, they were saying, man, Spence has been ducking us. There's these promoter rights where Terrence Crawford is part of ESPN boxing at Top Rank. Errol Spence is part of Premier PBC.
Showtime, right?
Showtime and PBC. And so they couldn't really make fights together, but they were kind of ducking Spence. They were kind of ducking Crawford. Oh, he's not a pay-per-view draw. Oh, he can't put butts in the seats. They kept moving the goalposts. And Crawford's camp leading up to this fight was saying, what are they going to say next? Because when we kick Errol Spence's ass, they're going to move the goalposts. And already you see it. Yeah, it's been tough for us to make 147. Yeah, we've been trying to make the weight. It's been really tough. It gets tougher, blah, 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 blah. But what I'm saying is they continue to move the goalposts. We do the same thing with Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo's a great case study. If anybody out there who cover practice said Jimmy G lit it up, they're lying.
Yeah.
They're lying. But the first day Brock Purdy came out and he was rusty, but they said, well, he is going against the starting defense. Where's that excuse for Trey Lance last season? Oh, come to find out Trey Lance is practicing every single day against the top defense in the NFL. So he's going to be inconsistent. Shocker, second-year pro, starting for the first time in his life, is going to struggle against the top defense in the NFL.
It's starting to feel like no matter what he does, even if he does well, given the opportunity, it's always going to be, yeah, but. Is he ever going to succeed with the 49ers, Bonta Hill?
I don't. It's hard to see it. It is very hard to see him succeeding with the 49ers.
I mean, yes, Brock did seize his opportunity. There's no denying that. And I know, Robin, I see you on hold there. But Trey Lance, all we want to see is a legit opportunity going forward. His body gave up on him.
Yep.
That sucks. And listen, and if you want to say that's part of football, that's part of life, obviously. No one's denying that. But you also gave up a lot to get this guy.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's crazy to tell the fan base, yeah, well, I want to see what we got in him.
Right.
I would like to see what we gave up, all the 3 first-round picks, all these, the amount of picks you gave up for this guy, those picks turned into legit players, by the way.
Right.
Micah Parsons on line 1. Like you're just looking at it amongst other names.
Right.
Jalen Waddle, whatever it was, the other ones, yeah.
Jalen Waddle, Miami, so explosive. 510, actually, mobile text line. We'll get back to the lines. 888-957-9570. Trey, no Kittle, no McCaffrey, had to play with a fat double Debo Samuel. That's Zucci, man. Now, I'm not going to call Debo fat, but he's admitted this camp that he came into last season out of shape. And he wasn't himself.
Holding him.
So now you go to Chicago, you got no Kittle. Christian McCaffrey's in Carolina. Elijah Mitchell gets hurt early in that football game. Early in that game. People forget that. He got hurt early in that game. You're playing with Jeff Wilson Jr., who was kind of checked out. And you got Debo Samuel out of shape.
Yeah. Wasn't an opportunity to succeed there in week 1. Absolutely not. And given the conditions, obviously, on the road, it was tough. I'm not going to crush the kid. Again, that might as well have been his rookie season. In Chicago. In a monsoon. It's tough. Brock, great. He's done awesome. He also had a major injury on his arm. And I don't think it's that crazy to say, hey, let's have a legit quarterback competition. Brock's obviously the leader in the clubhouse, Well, let's see what these other guys can do.
Right.
Sam Darnold as well.
Right.
Because he's never had this kind of coaching. He said Adam Gase was his guy.
Adam Gase.
And what do we think about Adam Gase?
And Matt Rule.
And Matt Rule, who's back in college because he couldn't hang. Like, come on. Let's give some of these guys some opportunities, all we want.
Do you think that Niner fans will feel some type of way if Trey gets moved on and you move these three first, you moved all this compensation and go get Trey Lance, and you really don't know? Like, that would be in another list. Like, Brandon Ayuk, we celebrate him. First round pick. Looks like it's turning into gold. Brandon Ayuk's a stud. And we talked about Brandon Ayuk earlier. Brandon Ayuk's headed to stardom.
Yeah.
But damn, we're not going to see Trey Lance four starts. That's it, and you move on.
That's a bust for Kyle Shanahan and Trey Lance. I'm not calling Trey Lance a bust. I'm saying it's a bust for the head coach and the GM of the San Francisco 49ers if they do indeed move on from Trey Lance.